This is Destiny Beyonson, a 7th grader at Clark Shaw Magnet School in Mobile, Alabama, and I am interviewing Mr. Jerome Hodgins, my great uncle, about growing up in rural Alabama and working on a dairy farm. Uncle Jerome, you have always talked about how life was different in the 1950s. Can you elaborate?
Okay, yes I can. We seen a time when the people were poor from coming out of a war, and a lot of your rural people had to do without, so they put the family together as a unit to work. There was people that didn't have water, and on my mother's side we were to that effect. I had to tote water from a spring because there was no indoor plumbing. And into war, after the war, it kind of gave everybody an opportunity to get a job, so people were moving toward the cities who were able to. And then the rural folk, they had to survive by utilizing their family members. For example, like myself, when I was little, I would have to do chores like bring the cows in to be milked, or put the feed in their pans where they could be eaten while you milked them. Stuff like that. We helped plant crops. I could tote a little bit of seed, or I could hoe, keep weeds out of the garden.
Uncle Jerome, you mentioned milking/herding cows and planting crops to survive. What did you have to do around the house to help with that?
Well, I've toted firewood to heat the home. We used a good bit of wood to heat the house. That's what a lot of people had to use. As far as around the house, everybody had chores, whether it be picking up or washing or cleaning, whatever.
How old were you?
Well, I first started work, we were probably 5, 6 years old, big enough to understand and to realize that I had to help.
Did your parents influence you in any way?
Yes, they did. They showed me what hard work was and that it was necessary for the family to survive.
You mentioned in that statement that you grew up rural. Did that affect your marriage or lifelong choices in any way?
Yes, it did. It taught me about work, and matter of fact, I met my wife who was brought up on a dairy farm, and we had a lot in common. So we wound up marrying and been married now for 43 years. And that's due to our upbringing. We had so much in common.
When you married my grandaunt Mildred, you mentioned helping in my family's dairy business. How did you help them?
Well, I planted crops, corn, helped harvest hay. That we made our own dairy feed to feed the cows. So that was part of my job in the family. Before then, they had gotten to the point that they were having to buy feed. So with my help, we were able to grow our own feed and make it for the cows.
Uncle John, you've mentioned to me and my siblings that the dairy farm where you milk the cows is still here. Can you show me?
Yes, let's go take a look at it and I'll show you what we have. You come on. This is the dairy barn where we used to milk the cows. You had a holding pen. You herded them in from the pasture into that holding pen. Then you would bring cows in, 6 at a time, and put them in the stanchions. The stanchions would hold the cows in place where you put a milking machine on. You place feed in a feed trough where they would have something to eat and would stand for you to milk them. The milking machine attached to their udder and pump milk into this glass line, Pyrex line, and put it into a refrigerated tank. The cows were milked twice a day on about a 12-hour schedule. And they had to be milked. Someone had to do it. The feed, that was the feed room over there where we stored feed to feed the cows. Feed room was in here. We stored feed in here. And the mixed mill where we made our feed is out back. Okay, this was a vacuum pump that supplied the vacuum to milk the cows. Okay, and our mixed meal. Okay. All right, this was our mixed meal that we made our cow feed with. We would put corn, hay, molasses, and most whatever we could find. Usually it was whole corn, cob, shucks, and all, and bales of hay. And we grind it up, and to add a little flavor and a little more protein, we put mineral salt and molasses. And the tank would mix it up. Then we would use an auger, so on the other side we could swing around and put it in the feed room.
Thank you, Uncle John, for sharing your part of history with me and my class.
Well, you're welcome, Destiny. I hope that y'all can benefit from it, or at least have something to see from it pertaining to the past.